how could this technology, how could CICERO, the work that you've already done and published on, be applied to the real world or the metaverse, say?
Yeah, I think obviously we only applied it to diplomacy. The actual agent Cicero could only play the game of diplomacy. But I think what we see here is a really convincing example of a grounded language model that actually can have goals and actually execute on them. And so I think other settings where we might see that is like there could be like digital agents in the metaverse there, or even NPCs in a video game is maybe a more approachable example where like you know you you could think of something like the you're playing Skyrim or something. The guard at the gate, perfectly fine for him to just be a large like GPT model or something, like spouting things that sound like what a guard would say, but you don't really need to interact with him. But if you talk to like the king of the city, you want him to actually be able to have like a back and forth with you of like,
Right.
here are the things that he wants. He wants someone to go kill this monster. He wants more information on his lost son, like all of this. And you want, I don't know, treasure, new equipment, like the next piece of information to move you to the next stage of the quest. And so you could actually train models knowing that these factors are at play and that conversation should be grounded on them, and actually generate like much more nuanced, grounded conversations.
Wow.
I mean, that's maybe like a gaming example, but you could also think of other settings where there's like a virtual assistant of some kind that needs to understand all of the actual context that is at play, what the human is actually wanting, and not just be able to produce things that sound like they make sense, but actually like take actions and talk about those actions. And um, yeah, rather than just kind of like the scripted commands that we have today, which are more precise, but it's because we can't do things like this yet.
That is super fascinating. Yeah, so that is a big limitation that, anybody who spent a lot of time in ChatGPT, sometimes you're getting bits of conversation that seem totally relevant, but other times it ends up going off piste. And so what you're saying is that this research, this Cicero research, is helpful because it shows that given the right constraints, you can have a grounded natural language model that is specific to some particular kind of task, whether it's virtual, like you're describing some conversation in the metaverse, in some video game, or like a virtual assistant. And this conversation will be grounded and factual and helpful and action oriented in a way that the other kinds of incumbent LLMs often veer astray.
Yeah, I hope so. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And of
yeah.
course, you need to like find data that can actually like teach them all to this, right? Like we talked about having to infer the plans that humans had before they sent a message. Like there's still like work to do to actually get it to apply to a particular setting. But I think the techniques we showed kind of give you tools in the toolbox for actually doing that.